This is David Smoak's statewide Texas high school football podcast on 365 Sports and powered by Smoaky.com and sponsored by Peter Chevrolet in Longview, an innovative third-generation family dealership dedicated to ethics, integrity, and the community, while creating friendly, intelligent, and transparent environment to assist with any automotive need, large or small.
McNair in the gun with under 2 minutes left, down 44-0, trying to get a score. English right side, and he will score. Touchdown, the senior, Raul English from 2 yards out.
Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. We are an insurance provider built by Texans for Texans. We've been protecting families in our great state since 1952. Sturdy Steel. We build more than grandstands and press boxes. We build the spaces where communities come together. Based in Texas and serving communities nationwide. Batteries Plus. We have the person who can fix what you need with expert knowledge on batteries and have you on your way and good to go in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge. Rudy's Country Store and Barbecue, with locations throughout the Southwest, serving up tasty food since 1989, including off I-35 in Waco. Next in line, Marco's Pizza, the fastest growing pizza brand in America. Marco's Pizza, Marcos.com. Pizza lovers get it with 5 locations in the Waco area. Bird Culchin Ford on the Loop and Highway 6 in Waco. And Waco's trusted Ford dealer since 1936. And customers know they can expect us to be fair, honest, affordable, and always committed to the tradition of quality service.
It's week number 2. We have evidence from week number 1. High school football season in Texas hits the month of September, and there are some great matchups this week. We will look at them as far as the highest rated games for Jerry Forrest and Pigskin Prep. That comes up later in the show. Also, longtime Longview football coach, the assistant coach, running backs coach, interim head coach Oscar Wilson, who will be on the sidelines. John King going through his surgery for cancer. That's going on, in fact, today. So our thoughts and prayers with John and his family. But Oscar Wilson will join us here momentarily. And then also today, well, this is what we look at. The best wins from last week. There's about 5 or 6 games that jumped out to me. There might be 20 or 12 for you that are different, but these are the ones that stood out. Dickinson winning on a Saturday against Katy. Anytime you beat Katy, it's a big win. Dickinson, of course, a heck of a football program. How about Coach Todd and South Oak Cliff beating North Shore by 10? And now they get Duncanville this week. They will play anybody, anywhere, and anytime. Aledo and Geyer. Geyer, of course, Jackson Arnold, the quarterback now at Auburn, who had a big game against Baylor. He was at Oklahoma. Geyer, really good, but Aledo gets the win against Geyer 31-14. In fact, they separated from them. Carthage, remember we had Scott Surratt and all the possibility of not everybody being healthy. Last year, Kilgore got him. Carthage went on to play and win the state championship. Kilgore went on to play but lost in the state championship to Salina, and Carthage wins that game 21-10. China Spring, they've had a couple of off years after that great run where they won back-to-back state championships. What a nice win at Franklin. Franklin, a powerhouse in Class 3A. Quashawn Gregory had over 300 yards rushing in the win for the Cougars, 42-28. And Cuero beat Columbus 28-21. So those are the best wins, at least some of them, from week number 1. We always try to give you an historical perspective, and this all-time career rushing yards leader in the state of Texas, Kenneth Hall, has been there since 1953. There's the graphic, thanks to Garrett Ross. Unbelievable. There have been some fantastic players that have chased him down but not been able to catch him. There's Jonathan Gray, who eventually played at Texas. Traylon Shedd, who ended up being a defensive lineman at UT from Cayuga. I covered Traylon Shedd. They went to a couple of state championship games and finally got one with Tommy Allison as the head coach. There's Spates at McAllen Memorial, Corey Kyle from Seagraves, and then Wes Dadaher. His dad, of course, a Hall of Fame coach, had a huge career in the early decade of the 2000s. Then 3 banger names. Rodney Thomas of Groveton went to A&M, played in the NFL. Cedric Benson, Midland Lee, went to Texas. And then Robert Strait, I saw him when he was a freshman. In 1985, they lost to Dangerfield when the Tigers were in that incredible run with that 83 team that may be the best ever. Lost to Medina Valley in 84, and then at Floyd Casey Stadium beat Cuero. I think it was 47-22. Robert Strait, he was a freshman that year. And Jacquiz Rogers, a fantastic. He and his brother put up huge numbers from Lamar Consolidated in 2004 to 2007. Now, by the way, of all those names, I covered Traylon Shedd. I covered Rodney Thomas at Groveton. I saw Cedric Benson, did a playoff game, Benson, at Texas Stadium against Duncanville back in the day. And, of course, he was dynamic. And then, again, I mentioned my first time that I saw Robert Strait his freshman year in the state championship game, lost to Dangerfield. Now, you look at all those numbers. The active career rushing yards leader is Keegan Ash at Mount Enterprise, and he had a huge game in their opening win this past weekend. There is a chance. Now, he is kind of an athlete. He plays all the positions, but he's going to get the ball a lot, no matter what position he's playing. But let's say he puts up 2,500 yards. It wouldn't be out far-fetched. If he could get there, he moves into the top 10. He's, 1,400 minus whatever he did last week, which was over 100, maybe close to 200 yards. He is on his way. Hopefully stays healthy, lots of games, has a chance to move himself deep into the all-time leading rushing yards in Texas high school football history with where he is as he started the year at just under 7,000 yards. Five-star quarterback is Sean Henderson at Legacy, the School of Sports Science, had a huge game. He's the University of Houston commit. He'll play for Willie Fritz next year. Here is video of, I think this is a 99-yard touchdown run that somebody had on film. He is fantastic. Do we have that, Garrett? It's loading. Here we go. He's at the goal line. Now he's inside. He's in his own end zone, and then watch him take off. He's gone. 99 yards. Maybe ran 140, if you think about it. Scrambling in the end zone, avoiding potential sack, and then went 99 yards for a touchdown. A five-star player committed to play for the University of Houston. Later in the show, we'll have our elite games around the corner. Longview's longtime coach, Oscar Wilson, has been with the program since 1979. He becomes the interim coach. John King with surgery this week. Lobos having a game this week after they're really dramatic, after falling behind, emotional win against Lufkin last week. We'll show you a couple of clips from that. Oscar Wilson joins us next on the statewide high school football podcast.
Now you can arrive at the big game in style in any of the luxurious Buicks in stock at Peters Buick in Longview. With the largest selection of new Buicks in East Texas, you can't lose at Peters. So make the big play now with the new 2025 Buick Envista Preferred for only $24,995. Enjoy the game in the comfort and luxury of a new Buick from the #1 Buick dealer in East Texas, Peters Buick. Online at peterscars.net.
Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They're still out there at Batteries Plus. With their quick solutions and expert advice on batteries, key fobs, and phone repair, Batteries Plus will have you in and out and on your way in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears!
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletic, specializing in diagnosing and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries. Celebrating over 2 decades of service to Central Texas, they tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. And when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday morning for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
The statewide high school football scoreboard brought to you by Peters Chevrolet in Longview, and a great friend of mine. I talk about a guy that's been incredibly loyal, somebody that we both share opinions about a lot of things, life, football, and more, business, in Randy Peters, and a perfect sponsor for our guest today with Oscar Wilson, the longtime football coach at Longview High School, interim head coach this week, starting with the John King surgery. But let's go to a couple of things first of all. Here is Coach King, just a short clip, speaking to his team prior to their longtime rival against Lufkin at Lobo Stadium.
Message, Lobo Nation. I'm excited about 2025 and open up at Lobo Stadium. It's been a very emotional week for our kids, but I can tell you this: they're ready to play, and they deserve a good showing tonight, and they deserve support. So come on out, support these kids. It's Longview Lufkin, it's green out. We'll have the green out line in pregame for the run through, and the home opener. 2 East Texas rivals meeting for the 88th time, and the Lobos, they're ready to start the 2025 season, and hoping we can build towards success. All
right, that's longtime head coach John King leading up to the game against Lufkin. Lufkin led 14-0. The Lobos stormed back. After the game, everybody knows the story about what Coach King is going through. And here is a short clip with players celebrating after the 41-16 win against Lufkin.
Hey, that's for King, baby! Hey, but they know what it was for. Everybody needs to know what it was for.
Yeah, that's. I got goosebumps looking at that. I wasn't at the game, but thinking about the game, we're now joined by Oscar Wilson. He was on the staff at Longview back in 1979, and he has been as consistent as the winning has been for the Lobos, no matter who the head coach has been. Oscar, thank you so much, man. I remember I first met you. It was August of 1984. I was working in local television for Channel 7. And you guys were practicing. It was during the early workouts, and I got a chance to meet you. I've known you for a long, long time. Thank you for your time this morning. Can you explain the emotions of the last few days inside the program and at Longview and the city too?
Well, it's been unique in that we knew Coach King was facing a battle, but we also knew Coach King was up to the task because he's a fighter. And we know for sure that God's on his side and God's going to take care of him.
I was told by, I can say it now, Matthew Prosser, who you know is a part of Longview ISD, who I remember, I didn't know this, and he wrote me one of the nicest letters back earlier this spring. He was at Overton High School when I was covering high school football all over the area. But he told me that morning at the field house that he walked in and Coach King was on a treadmill. And he said something about, are you going to be there? And, of course, in John's way, I can't repeat everything he said. But you know what? You're damn right I'm going to be there, and let's go. That surprised you at all?
No, because Coach King is here. I have his hat right here.
Oh, my God.
And he's here. He's here in spirit, and he's here in truth.
Alan, what was the reaction from you and the staff when Coach King told you about his mouth and the tongue cancer and let everybody know what was going on?
Well, we knew that we were going to be here for him. That's the main thing, because he had just lost his father back in July. And for this to happen, it's still in God's hand. And we as a staff, whatever he asked us to do, that's what we're going to do. All of us have different assignments, and we're going to take that to heart and get it done.
To say he's a fighter is an understatement. He might be one of the toughest SOBs I've ever known. Excuse my almost French. And so all of what he's doing doesn't surprise me. But he's a teddy bear too now, right? He doesn't want any people to know that, but he's got a teddy bear in him, doesn't he?
He does. But the thing about him is he's a friend to everybody. And he loves all people. That's what I love about him. Because there are no big eyes, no little U's. The thing that impresses me, whenever we're doing something, he's a part of it. You know, I told him one day as a coach, I said, you're the head coach. You shouldn't be doing that. He said, Coach, we in this together. And we're all going to pull together. And that's what we're doing right now. I know he's going through the surgery, but we are also. And we're going to fight for him every day.
He told me last night in a text, I'll share this with you, it was short and sweet, but I said, can you give me some sort of what you think of Oscar Wilson? He said he impacts a lot of kids of all walks of life, great role model for coaches and also for kids.
Well, you know, you put on this earth for a reason. And people ask me, why are you still coaching? Well, God put me here for a reason. I'm here to help people. When I meet people, I don't look at no color, I don't look at no ethnicity or nothing. I look at them as people here to be served by the Lord, and that's what I'm here for.
You have served as an assistant coach under Doug Cox, Robert Biro, Pat Collins, and now for the longest time since 2004 with John King. Those are four great men. Some had more success than others, but have you been blessed, and they've been blessed to have you on their staff too, but you also on the staffs that you've worked with?
Yes, sir. You know, what we do as a staff, we work together. And the thing that I'm impressed with all those coaches, they were great men, and they knew how to treat people. If ever was the time we needed people to love people, it's now. Because with what's going on in our country, and I'm not going to get into that, but we need to have love for everybody.
Oscar, I got to ask you this question. When Pat Collins, I remember back when the story was that he was going to take over as the head coach in 2000, and in Louisiana, and that's, of course, where Coach King, Coach Barry, there's others that have come from that. Coach Valerie, when he's at Kilgore, his son's been on the Longview staff, Dickie Meeks. When that happened, there were thoughts, and I knew Louisiana had some great football. Remember Evangel, you just named some programs. What was the initial reaction among the staff when Pat Collins was hired and a lot of guys from Louisiana were coming in?
Well, we just had to make some adjustments in that. We didn't know what to expect. When he was hired, Coach Collins told us, you all have jobs for now. I'm going to make an evaluation, and I'm going to judge you on what you do. And I had no words in my mind because I knew I was going to do my job. And that's what Coach Collins asked you to do. Be accountable. Be ready to do your job at all times.
Does anything change for you this week that you're the interim head coach?
No, because Coach King has always told me, Coach, I value your opinion, and I'm going to do what's right by you, and you do right by these kids. And the last thing he and I talked about on yesterday, we're going to continue to do what we do. We had this slogan this year, build different. We are built different because we're here for one another. And we're going to treat kids like all kids need to be treated, with respect.
As you know, I covered East Texas ever since 1981, and I've been to all of basically every field house, including Lobo field house many times. Unbelievable setting for Lobo Stadium at night games. But in no doubt in my mind that I don't know of any program that has had day in and day out, game in and game out, tougher, harder playing. That doesn't mean you have won every game and you haven't had a game or two that didn't go well, but I'm talking about, I don't know if anybody that's ever played as hard, game in and game out, week in and week out, over all of these years than Longview. Why?
Because that slogan, build different.
Yeah.
When we come to work, we come to work. When that bell rings for athletic period, they get dressed and we're in the weight room or out on the field. It's work. And, we have some fun times, but it's work. And we try to get our jobs done. Every person has a responsibility, and you're held accountable. Get your job done.
John Barry. Yeah.
That's why, you made a statement about why we win so much. We win because we expect to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a thing that we hope to do. We expect to win every ball game. Last Friday night, we fell behind 14-0. But the thing within our mind is this: there are 4 quarters in that ball game, and we're gonna fight till the end.
Well, when I saw that score pop up, I'm like, okay, this could be interesting because of all of the emotions. And it just, as you said, I've seen it, man. You just keep going at it and playing hard and make plays. From John Barry, who came in with Pat Collins, who's been on John King's staff a couple of times. He was at Gladewater. I asked him tell me about Oscar Wilson. And I know you, I don't need anyone else much. I don't see you very often, but I know about you. But consistency, supportive, stability. He cares for staff and their families. 4 decades of experience, which I mentioned at Longview High School. The implications of all of that are numerous.
Well, the thing that I know for a fact is this: if God wakes me up, I'm going to do what God told me to do. God said, treat people like I treat you. God give us all types of opportunities. What do we do with those opportunities is what counts. Make the best of every situation you find yourself in. And when Coach King told us what our responsibilities were, we accepted it. That's what we're going to do.
What was the conversation with you and Doug Cox when he hired you? I think you were at Forest Park Middle School. You had been at Pittsburgh, Marshall, and Hallsville, all right there around the Longview area. What was his conversation with you when you were hired, and what did that mean to you to be a part of a varsity staff?
Well, it was 1979, and I was the head coach at Forest Park. And we had a successful football season. He came over and said, well, Coach, I'm going to move you to the varsity. And I kind of had this blank look on my face. What had happened, the black kids had walked out, okay? And I told him at that point, I said, look, Coach, now I'm a man. And if you want to move me because I can coach, I'll come. But I'm not coming up there to be a mediator between you and the black kids. I'm not doing that. And he said, Coach, it's not anything like that. I'm hiring you. I want you to come up because of what you can do. You can coach.
What was the reaction of those who weren't so sure they wanted to be at Longview High School?
Well, the kids, what they did, the ones that were the outspoken people, they left. The other kids came back, and they were ready to go back to work. And that's what happened. They bought into what was being taught.
Was it a black-white issue?
It was about playing time and all this kind of thing.
Right,
and
right.
Made it a racial issue.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened.
All right, so I'm going to ask you to do something. You've got children, your wife, you got a big family. Yes. So it's like when somebody asks, and I have a son, Craig, who does a show with me, and then Jennifer, our daughter. But it's like when somebody asked you, who's your favorite kid? You couldn't do that. You're not going to do that. I'm not going to ask you to do that. But let's go through the history of what position you've coached forever, and that's the Longview running back high school football, the running back history and tradition. How do you even try to put your arms around from the time I remember Joe Johnson, who went to Arkansas, hellacious player, to even what Washington did last year and everything else in between, from the Hunters or Fred Talley or McGee? Can you even try to put all that together?
David, I'm going to tell you, like I tell all those players, you are a blessing to me because you make me better. People talk about what I've done. It's not what I've done. I put you in a position and you took what you had and used it for the glory of this team and mainly for the glory of God, because everything starts with God. I've been blessed. I promise you. I think back to the first group of backs that I had. Start with Clifford Ward, Galen Johnson, and some other guys that were older than them, but they were 2 ninth graders that had been moved up. They were sophomores that year. That was my starting backfield. So I think to Joe Johnson, heck of a running back. Brother named Carl Johnson, heck of a running back. And you mentioned the Hunters, Fred and Ronnie Hunter. Now, Willard was on the team when I got here. He played linebacker. He played a little bit of fullback. But the ones that I remember are Ronnie and Willard. I'm sorry, Ronnie and Fred.
The
reason why I love Fred so much. Fred got married 2 years ago. You know who he asked to be his best man?
Oh, my goodness. How about that? What a compliment.
That's a compliment.
Fred
is going through something right now, and I'm putting it out there. He has cancer. So he's taking treatment. And every day I'm calling him and talking to him, or he's calling me. He's in the hospital right now because he got dehydrated. But that's the type of bond I have with the guys that I coach. You mentioned Talley. Fred Talley still keeps in contact with me. Kevin Washington. I talked to him last week before his first ball game. And the reason why it's so unique is that they can call me anytime. My message is this. I'm available 24/7. Call me and talk to me, and I'll help you.
Yeah, some people say that. That doesn't mean it's always the case.
That's me.
I know you have to get to what you have on the agenda today. I'm gonna name a running back. You've gone through some of them, and there's too many for us to touch on every one of them. But just the first thing you think about, Vondrell McGee.
Vondrell McGee, tough, determined, not a man of many words. His actions spoke for him. When he touched that football, look out.
Went to UT. Andre Davis.
Andre Davis, one of the toughest guys I've ever been around. He was unique in that he knew what he wanted to get accomplished, and he was not going to let anything keep him from doing that.
Chris Butcher. Tough, yeah.
The thing about him, he loved what he was doing. Anything that he loved, he put his best into it. And that's what I love about Chris. Chris passed a couple of years ago. Chris Smith, that's his name.
Out
of high school.
Another guy that went to Texas, he out of high school, and eventually, Jermichael Hasty. I mean, Matt Rule loved him when he came to Baylor and said that he was going to be an NFL player, and everyone saw his size and whatever, and he damn sure became an NFL player.
He most certainly did. When he was here, he got hurt. And, people discounted him, said he was not going to come back. But Jermichael Hasty came back and had a great senior season. And that led to him going to Baylor. And I call it determination. He was determined to make something out of himself, and he's still doing it today. He's with New England right now, isn't he?
Yep. He 49ers event. Yeah, he's it's not like a 1-year deal. He's sticking around the league. He's putting himself together. Hopefully a longevity when it comes to being a pro. Caden Meredith, tough.
And the thing I remember about him, when we won that state championship, we were playing Amarillo Tascosa. He fumbled the kickoff. He got that ball and took it back for a touchdown. And when they interviewed him at the end of the game, he said, well, I knew they were going to eat me up if I didn't do something. So that's why I went and made the touchdown.
Taylor Tatum at Oklahoma. I did not get enough touches, but they didn't really have a lot running a game last week. And, of course, they've got others, the kid in California that came in, among others. But Taylor Tatum.
Taylor Tatum is the one that I remember the most because he's recent. Okay?
Right.
But I had the opportunity to see him in the 8th grade. And some of the coaches were saying, well, he's too tall to be a tailback. I said, all I'm going to do is get him down, and he's going to be great because of that blazing speed. Once he gotten open, you're not catching it. And that's what I knew. If he's got his pad level down, it's to his advantage. And that's what he used when he became a varsity player here at Longview.
Tyler McCray,
crazy legs. That's what I call him. The game I remember, we were playing right out here against Allen. We fell behind, and Tyler had ankle surgery, and I didn't know what to expect. He said, "Coach, tell him just give me the ball." He made a run from the 10-yard line, the best run I ever seen run. Now, that's saying a lot when I say the best I've ever seen.
Yeah, no.
But he did. And then against the Waco Midway, when we had to go to overtime and the quarterback scored. But the one that set us up to that was Tyler McCray.
That John to this day says that might be the one loss that eats him alive to this day. I think Haynes was a sophomore. You guys ended up winning it the next year. Midway had 10. Mordecai, a great quarterback, pouring down rain, the field goals that were missed. That might have been one of the most. I've been a part of a lot of games like you have been a part of broadcasting, but that game there, for me, it was emotional because I had covered Longview. It's like when Midway played Lee a couple of times or John Tyler. It really was interesting. It's hard for me in a way, even though obviously broadcasting Midway, but that was one of the most unbelievable back and forth pendulum swinging games I've ever been a part of.
And that set the stage for that next year when we won state.
Yep, that's right. You got to make it's almost like they want you to like taste it, but not quite, and then still want it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Keelan Williams.
When you speak of that, last year, playing against South Lake Carroll.
Yep.
And to lose the way that we did. Well, these kids, you asked me about how they're built. These kids still remember that. And falling behind 14-0, they still remember that loss. They didn't want it to happen again.
Keelan Williams.
Toughest little man I ever been around.
Yeah, he was a little man, but golly.
Woo. And once he made a move, I asked him one time, I said, Keelan, how did you do that? He said, Coach, I saw it, and I knew if I got down, they couldn't find me. He was right. He came out of it and went for a touchdown.
I don't have time again to go through all of them. There's others like Jesse Anderson, Torrey White, Braylon Anthony, and more.
Yep. But the thing that a kid asked me in the weight room the other day, Coach, who's the best running back you've ever had? I said, look here, I'm not going to even dignify that question because all the guys that I had have been good, in some cases great. So I'm not going to try to characterize nobody and say who's the best because they all are good.
Willie Andrews was another one. I know he had to battle some things off the field, but I remember he wore 18 or some number. I can't remember. I don't know why I just came up with that number, but another hellacious player that played in the NFL too.
Yep.
Last thing, Oscar Wilson, 1979, Doug Cox hired him to be a part of the staff, and you went through that story. You have seen and been through back in the days of civil rights. You mentioned 1979 and what was going on, and all of what you've seen. How would you consider yourself blessed to have been through some of that, but also now seasoned to understand how to handle it?
Yes, sir. God, like I said this earlier, God puts you in a position to be used by him. It's not for any glory for myself. It's for the glory of God that I'm here and able to help kids. People don't understand on Friday nights or Friday evenings, we have a devotional period. And I get to talk to the kids about what does say the Lord, the Bible. We do this before we take the football field. And I think back to last year's football program. We had lost 2 games to Ruston and the South Oak Cliffs. And everybody's talking about what we were not going to do. So my talk to them was to come together as a team and follow the plan. Well, when you have a family, things are not always going to go right. You're going to have your ups and downs, but follow the plan that's been set forth in the Word of God, and you're going to be all right.
Longview coaching staff, John King with surgery on the cancer. Oscar Wilson, the interim head coach, with us today. Good luck this week. Thank you for your time, Coach. Love to see you. Thanks for jumping on. And I do remember the first time I ever saw you was when I covered Longview back in August of 1984. And I was at Lobo Stadium with your practice and Doug Cox and many others. Good luck this week. God bless you. And thanks for being the person you are.
Okay, David. And let me say one thing before you leave, because, this week I'm playing against my hometown. But
Marshall, yeah.
Marshall. But what I always tell my people in Marshall, I love you, but Longview pays the bill. And I'm here, I'm a Lobo. And we're going to win that ball game.
Yeah, and one of the longest running series ever. And a lot of them are out of East Texas, like Lufkin, Nacogdoches, and the lopsided Longview series lead against the Mavericks. But, man, what a series. Thank you, Coach. Thank you very much. Good luck. And obviously our thoughts and prayers with Coach King.
Appreciate you.
You too. Oscar Wilson, Longview High School, with us on the statewide high school football podcast. Back in a moment.
Now you can arrive at the big game in style in any of the luxurious Buicks in stock at Peters Buick in Longview. With the largest selection of new Buicks in East Texas, you can't lose at Peters. So make the big play now with the new 2025 Buick Envista Preferred for only $24,995. Enjoy the game in the comfort and luxury of a new Buick from the #1 Buick dealer in East Texas, Peters Buick. Online at peterscars.net.
Remember when you had a guy, someone who could fix anything? They're still out there at Batteries Plus. With their quick solutions and expert advice on batteries, key fobs, and phone repair, Batteries Plus will have you in and out and on your way in no time. Batteries Plus, the experts in charge.
Pizza, burgers, and Bears football. There's no place around Waco that serves them all other than Bubba's 33. Come show your green and gold and enjoy some of Waco's best food and beverages while watching your favorite team, the Bears. When real Bears fans get hungry, Bubba's 33 is the #1 spot for ice-cold drinks, hand-stretched, stone-baked pizzas, and bacon-infused burgers. Join us for indoor or patio dining. Bubba's 33, Waco's restaurant and proud supporter of Baylor Bears football. Sick 'em, Bears!
Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine Orthopedics, the team physicians for Baylor Athletic, specializing in diagnosing and treatment of any and all sport-related injuries. Celebrating over 2 decades of service to Central Texas, they tackle all surgical and non-surgical problems that arise from an active lifestyle. Trust the doctors that Baylor trusts. And when injuries sideline you, don't wait for Monday. Join us at 8:30 on Saturday morning for a post-game injury evaluation clinic. Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine Orthopedics. We get you back in the game.
When we moved to Texas, we were like fish out of water. We didn't know anyone in our neighborhood until our Texas Farm Bureau insurance agent came to the house. She was so helpful and reassuring, a friendly face with that Texan hospitality I'd heard about. When we purchased a Texas Farm Bureau insurance policy, we knew we were making the right choice. We knew our family would be protected.
Stop by and see our agents at one of our 3 McLennan County locations.
Coverage and discounts are subject to qualifications and policy terms and may vary by situation.
As we do every week, we close out with the best games of this week. And this is from pigskinprep.com and our good friend, Jerry Forrest, who I hope one day will be a part of the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. And what he does is rank every single school, no matter the size or whatever class, private, UIL, whatever. And here are the games. What a banger. That's what I call big game. Duncanville and South Oak Cliff. South Oak Cliff coming off the win against North Shore. Salina, they won it all last year. La Vega rolled in their opening game against Kennedale. Should be a heck of a game. Private school game between Prestonwood and All Saints Episcopal. If you look at the number on the right, there's a blue number. The higher or the lower the number, the better the game based on the indexes of who's ranked in various classifications. Holiday and Munster, there's another private school game. Dallas Parish Episcopal lost their opening game against Bel Air. Jefferson and Newton, that's a heck of a game. Jefferson, the Bulldogs. That reminds me of that. Their head coach in 1986 when they beat Cuero at Kyle Field in College Station was Jerry Bennett. We lost Jerry. A part of the coaching Bennett family with Phil Bennett, Jim Bennett, and we lost Jerry Bennett earlier this year. Texas High, they won by a couple of touchdowns against Legacy out of Tyler. They have Jason Witten and Liberty Christian out of Argyle. There's Highland Park. They were beaten in their opening game by Rockwall Heath. They have Lovejoy and Todd Dodge. Honeygrove with Ryland Morris, really good player, against Marlin. Marlin lost their opening game against, I think it was Bremont. No, it's not Bremont. They lost their opening game of the year. Go down a couple of notches. You have Goliad and Tidehaven. You have DeSoto and North Crowley. Now, North Crowley was phenomenal last year. I mean, Smoak beat everybody. DeSoto went to the East Coast and gave up 70 to a school out of, I think, Georgia. Don't let that, like oh my God. It happened to them last year as well. That's a banger. Chapel Hill beat Jasper by 42 last week. They're going to Gilmer. Buckeyes at 1-0 with Alan Wetzel, their head coach. Arp and Garrison, a great 2A game. There's San Antonio Brennan and Smithson Valley. Larry Hill got a state championship. They've been knocking on that door. We had them on our podcast last year. That's a good one. And then Atascocita and Katy. Katy lost that opening game to Dickinson. And so I don't know the last time if Katy has been 0-2. I'm sure there has been an exception, but they're trying to avoid being 0-2. All right, thanks to everybody. You see Peter Chevrolet out of Longview. I mentioned them as far as one of our sponsors of this show, and all of who make this possible as we do this every week, including Garrett Ross, who is running and producing the show. Batteries Plus, Baylor Scott and White, Southwest Sports Medicine, Burt Colgan Ford, Bubba's 33, Peter Chevrolet, Sturdy Steel, and also Texas Farm Bureau Insurance. I'm David Smoak for Garrett Ross and all of everybody involved in Texas high school football. We'll see you next week for week number 3. Look back at week number 2 and enjoy the weekend of games, everybody. Good night.